Hi, I'm Elizabeth with Wicked Edge, and I'm going to show you how to get started using the practice knife that came with your sharpener. We've provided you with the practice knife because we want you to feel comfortable and confident the first time you sharpen a knife on the Wicked Edge. We've already done the hard part of finding the angle and the sweet spot for mounting this knife in the vise. That way you can focus on learning how to use the sharpener, learning the sharpening motion with the diamond stones, and experiencing amazing results the first time you sharpen a knife. To start, you want to mount your sharpener to a work surface using the C-clamp. Once you have your sharpener mounted to a work surface, you'll want to move your angle slides into a location where you can install your guide rods. So we're going to turn this top thumb screw half a turn to loosen it. Now the whole slider will move. You'll want to slide it out to the edge of the sharpener where it's flush, and then we're going to retighten it just so it's snug. You want to do this on both sides. So for the next step, we're going to install the guide rods. To do that, you're going to start by loosening the guide rod retention screw on the slider and removing the little plastic ball and setting it aside. Then we'll take our guide rod and we'll take the ball at the end of the guide rod and place it against the guide rod socket, and then we'll tighten the guide rod retention screw so it's retaining the ball. You'll want this to be snug, and to do that you'll probably need a flathead screwdriver to do a couple of extra turns at the end. And you want this to be tight enough that the guide rod can stand up on its own, but you still want to have really good, easy motion. So now we've got the guide rod standing up and the motion is easy. Now that your guide rods are installed, you can take your handles and you're going to slide them onto the guide rods through the hole in the center of the handle, like this. Now we'll take our alignment guide and our depth key, and we'll plug the prongs of the depth key into the two holes in the alignment guide. And then we'll take that and we'll plug that into the top set of holes in our vise. Now you're ready to mount the knife in the vise. So we'll take the practice knife and we're going to set it in between the jaws so it's just resting on the prongs of the depth key. We want the tip of the knife to be aligned with the letter B on our alignment guide. We want the knife to rest evenly on the prongs of the depth key. Then we'll go ahead and tighten the top screw in the vise, just so it's snug and is holding the knife there. I'm not going to let go of the knife with this hand. And now I'm going to tighten the bottom screw. I can feel it touching the opposing side of the jaw, and now that it's there, I'm going to turn it another half a turn or quarter of a turn. Now that the knife is securely mounted in the vise, we can remove the depth key and the alignment guide and set those aside. Next, we'll want to set our angle. This knife is going to be 20 degrees. So we'll stand our stones up, and then we'll take our sliders and move them to the 20-degree mark. Tighten our thumb screw. We want this to be as snug as possible. It's not necessarily to use pliers or a tool to do it. So we'll loosen this side. Then we'll move it into 20 degrees as well and retighten our thumb screw. Now we'll do 10 strokes on the left side of the knife as we're creating a burr. Once you've done those 10 strokes, we're going to feel for a burr on the right side of the knife. To do that, we're going to use our fingernail, and we're just going to pull it up the edge of the blade and feel if it's catching at the edge of the knife. So now that we've successfully created a burr on the right side of the knife, we're going to do the same thing on the left by doing 10 strokes on the right side of the knife. Now we'll feel for a burr on the left side of the knife in the same method of using our fingernail, dragging it up the edge of the blade. I can feel my fingernail catching at the very edge on that burr the whole way down the blade. That means we're ready to start sharpening. So now that we're ready to start sharpening, we'll use again our 2 grit diamond stones, and we're going to do 20 alternating strokes. We'll continue sharpening by flipping the stones around to the 600 grits and again doing 20 alternating strokes. So now that you've finished sharpening your knife, we're going to remove it from the vise. We're going to do that by holding onto the handle with one hand, using our Vise key, and starting with the bottom screw, and we're going to loosen about half a turn. Then we can move to the top screw and then loosen the rest of the way. Remove our knife from the vise. Now that you've removed your knife from the vise, you'll probably notice that it has some marker as well as some diamond grit on it, and you'll want to clean that up. To do that, we recommend a 90% isopropyl rubbing alcohol. A little plastic spray bottle is a really easy way to apply that to a paper towel. And just very carefully and gently wipe the knife off on the paper towel and take care not to cut yourself. For more information about how to use your Wicked Edge sharpener, including finding the angle as well as the sweet spot for mounting your knife, check out this video playlist.